Good morning, class. Sarah and I will be talking about economic instability in the unhoused population. We are focusing on featuring artistic abilities on the street, hoping to connect them with employment opportunities. We tried to focus our project and presentation on three main ideas: highlighting marketable skills that people experiencing homelessness have, focusing on strengths, passions, and untapped potential, and coming alongside people experiencing homelessness, asking how we can connect them to their community.
So our team decided to focus on the idea of economic stability within this social determinants of health structure. Street living individuals experience poverty and job instability, which affects both their physical and mental health. Our idea was to change the public perception toward people experiencing homelessness and how they contribute to society. On this slide is our asset map, which goes into the different arms of our community assets that we utilized.
For our needs assessment, we asked street medicine staff, and here's what they had to say.
Panhandling, recycling.
Patients, like quote unquote hustle, they'll say, and I think that can mean various things. It can mean like buying and selling substances, sex work. Hello, people like working in contracting or like construction. But a lot of it's like more under the table work. A lot of artists on the street. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't have their documents, which can be one thing that's asked for. And then I think a lot of times it's difficult for people to make an interview or make a resume.
Panhandling.
Next, we asked people experiencing homelessness, and here's a preview of what they said.
Side work to try to keep up with rent. And it was extremely stressful, and it was always just enough kind of to just be worried about the next month. So at a certain point, I just decided it wasn't worth it. The skills of surviving on the street are pretty intense, but they're difficult to sell.
I work at a company, a metal company right now. I don't know, I like to do a lot of different things, you know. One of them is drawing. Sometimes I just get the itch. I want to tattoo.
Yeah.
Side work.
We asked public librarians. We spoke with a woman who's a social worker named Miss Horton at the West Hollywood Public Library, who connects unhoused people with substance use disorder to recovery centers. She has a lot of people interested in gaining work, but the situation that they're currently in do not foster motivation to work. She speaks to about 12 people per week to connect them with resources. We asked the general public and employers some couple of questions, and a study showed that about 70% of homeless respondents felt that they had been discriminated against on a job application by private businesses based on housing status. This study reviewed the online application from 40 of the nation's largest low-wage employers, including Walmart, Starbucks, and Target, which all require applicants to provide an address and prevent them from proceeding to the next step without registering one.
Unemployed individuals report feelings of depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, demoralization, and physical pain. They tend to suffer more from stress-related illnesses such as high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack, heart disease, and arthritis. One's economic well-being influences all dimensions of personal well-being. Employment provides time structure, social contact, social context, and social identity, all of which influences people's health and mental health statuses. Potential employers may hold negative assumptions and biases toward people experiencing homelessness, contributing to society and entering the workforce. These are obstacles for people experiencing homelessness to get access to resources, then obstacles to get a job, and then low retention in employment even once someone does secure a job. So this population faces immense stigma. Our group found that we need to change assumptions from the general public and employers in order to most effectively help unhoused individuals through each of these stages of obstacles. We specifically chose objectives here from Healthy People 2030 that addressed economic stability and increased employment and health literacy in the population. It was hard to find an exact health outcome goal as our population was specific, and the change in depression or stress in an unhoused individual would be hard to isolate in relation to his or her employment. So our first objective addressed the level of knowledge in the employer population. We decided we would measure potential employers' knowledge of unhoused individuals in the workforce over 3 months and hope to see at least a 10% change in baseline knowledge and decrease in negative stigma toward this population through our survey. Our next objective addressed the environment and support or resources one has in the community. We wanted to connect at least one unhoused individual to employment programs that provided career counseling, jobs, and educational opportunities to low-income people and help them find and keep paid work. As we will discuss, people who work are more likely to have positive health outcomes. Our last measurable objective targeted the change in unhoused individuals' confidence. We wanted to empower at least one unhoused individual to feel confident in pursuing their passion and contributing to the community in the way that they want to. For example, exhibiting at least one painting in a coffee shop to sell it and increase their income.
The first part of our literature review, we looked at the rate of employment first. We focused on SPA 4, which is Metro LA, which has 17,000 people experiencing homelessness. According to the official 2022 LA County homeless count, that's about 26% of the overall 69,000 people experiencing homelessness in LA. We found that 12% of adults are unemployed in this area and actively looking for work. This survey often does not accurately account for the amount of unemployed people experiencing homelessness. 24% of the population has household incomes less than 100% of the federal poverty level. Life-sustaining wages are a key determinant of housing security. However, most people experiencing homelessness are not earning enough to afford rent. Next on the literature review, we looked at health on the street. 28% of adults in this SPA stated that they don't have access to medical care. 15% of adults have current depression and are at risk for major depression disorder. This fares worse compared to other SPAs, and given that there is the largest percentage of homeless people in this area, you can see that there's a correlation between being unhoused, unemployed, and the detrimental effect on mental health and accessing medical care.
Next, we looked at income generating activities, and we were only able to find exact data on specific income activities of street living youth in SPA 4, but it shows that they're commonly involved in high-risk survival behaviors. 73% support themselves through panhandling, 46% through prostitution, 34% have some form of employment, 32% through drug dealing, and 29% through theft. Then we looked at which resources are currently available, and job aid is currently provided mostly through mobile outreach involving case managers working with county organizations like LASA, the People Concern, and PATH. According to LA Hope, which is a federally funded housing org, many housing services only offer employment services on a referral needs basis. And then there are some fixed site resources like job fairs, public libraries, Homeboy Industries, which is a nonprofit org in LA that assists former gang members in developing social and vocational skills to facilitate their re-entry into society. And then Dress for Success, which is a nonprofit org that provides donated professional attire and the development tools for primarily women, although they recently closed their LA location. We then looked at deficits in this current system, and research done by Dr. Ferguson, a USC professor in social work, found that the typical outreach model does not offer youth an alternative to replace their profitable street survival activities with other legal income generating activities. The traditional job training programs like Job Corps have barriers as they do not have a mental health component and often require digital literacy. These researchers also contend that entry-level jobs can actually perpetuate poverty to an extent by offering low-paying jobs and maintaining existing power structures. One of our friends here, Ami, in a previous video actually discussed how unhoused individuals may be exploited and go unpaid by employers once they finally even secure a job. The social enterprise intervention model has 3 parts, providing vocational skills classes, clinical mentorship, and linkages to services. Given that the current outreach model is not meeting street living individuals where they're at, we brainstormed ways to help people experiencing homelessness find sustainable income and jobs. We wanted to ensure that street living individuals are not being forced to conform to society through an entry-level job that they may have no interest in, and then move away from them being labeled as a client for a service.
We emphasized health literacy. We wanted to make sure that resources were logistically accessible and include more audio clips rather than text, because our patient population welcomes visuals more than reading long bursts of text. We examined predisposed biases that we may hold for cultural humility. We asked unhoused what they have heard or how they feel that they are being judged by the public and how they want to contribute to society. Trauma-informed care was used when speaking to people experiencing homelessness and with our street medicine team. We tried to go about questioning without making assumptions or triggering their lived trauma. Equity and inclusion was held with different aspects in our project. We held equal interviews with unhoused and only included what people consented to share. We included both male and female and showed all walks of life. We also asked librarians what assistance they provided for those with disabilities or people who couldn't use technology. For advocacy, we interviewed people experiencing homelessness and showcased their artwork in our vlog in order to support their work and advance their goals. We are elevating the voice of the unhoused and want to ensure that people experiencing homelessness are being heard in the way that they want to be and that their rights are respected.
Our target audience was employers, and specifically those that may be hiring unhoused individuals or featuring their artwork to sell. This includes local cafes that may hang artwork on their walls and sell it for the artist. And we extended the survey to include libraries as well, as they may hire unhoused individuals to teach art classes. Our rationale for sharing our blog with potential employers was the idea that we could change any negative assumptions through sharing insight into the unhoused stories, highlighting their art, and helping them connect to income from their talents and works that they're truly passionate about. Here's a glimpse at our intervention, where we decided to highlight the marketable skills and talents that unhoused individuals already have through a video log. We wanted to showcase things they're currently doing and passionate about that could be linked to an employer or source of income. We showed this vlog to potential employers and businesses that were willing to support street living individuals and help them sell their art, as we found that most people on the streets had artistic talents.
To access the survey easily, we created QR codes.
This slide shows our results, and the pre-survey answers we received for all 9 questions actually changed significantly after individuals watched our blog and completed the post survey. On this bar graph, the horizontal axis shows each question with the pre-survey in blue and the post-survey results in red. For example, question 1 on the left-hand side stated, on a scale from 1 to 5 of no contribution to full contribution, how much do you think people experiencing homelessness contribute to society? The pre-survey average showed that the employers answered 2.6, while the post-survey shows an improvement in this to 4.2, meaning that the employers felt as though more unhoused individuals contribute to society after watching our vlog. The questions surrounded by the dotted red lines in the middle are inverse questions, meaning that we asked a negative question like, do you think that all people experiencing homelessness choose not to work? For question 4 here. In this case, that's good. The fact that this assumption went down in our target audience shows that our data is congruent. And finally, to point out question 9 on the right-hand side, we asked how comfortable the employer would feel on a scale of 1 to 5 in hiring someone experiencing homelessness or showcasing their artwork to help them sell it. The pre-survey average was 3.2, and that climbed to 4.6 at the post-survey. This was very exciting for us, as this shows that out of the employers we surveyed, they have a 92% confidence in hiring someone experiencing homelessness and showcasing their artwork after gaining insight into this population through our blog. Some of the biggest improvements in negative assumptions or unconscious biases in employers are highlighted here. After viewing the blog of interviews with street patients, 88% of employers agreed that people experiencing homelessness have marketable skills. 92% of employers agreed that unhoused individuals still have too many barriers to enter the formal workforce after viewing the vlog. There may need to be a different avenue explored in order to find ways to reach this population where they're at and follow the street med model. We definitely feel as though we made an impact in the community with this project, as we brought the strengths and skills of people experiencing homelessness to light by sharing the blog with local employers and empowering unhoused individuals to share their talents and continue contributing to their community in their own way.
Our first objective was met. We saw at least a 10% change in baseline knowledge and decrease in negative stigma toward this population through our survey. We connected at least one unhoused individual to employment resources. And lastly, our last objective was met by empowering Ami to feel confident in pursuing her passion and connected her with a coffee shop who can exhibit at least one painting to sell on her behalf. Here are some of the artwork we featured in our vlog from artist Ami Tallman and tattooist Guilty.
Some of the barriers we encountered was that we were unable to interview and feature many unhoused patients, and the employers that we wanted to survey were busy during the hours that we had available to come in, so there was less participation than we wanted. We also had a difficult time finding quiet areas outside in order to interview the street patients and street med staff. Our solutions included, for the interviews, we tried recording them in a car away from outside noise, and then for the surveys, we timed going to cafes before and after rush hour, had quick and ready QR codes so they could save the survey on their phone to complete later, and then showed appreciation with incentives like USC gear.
Our first star is that we made an impact on potential employers by showing them our vlog and providing insight into the unhoused individual situation. We improved the negative assumption that some employers had. Our second star is that we made a difference in influencing local community members that provide resources and outreach. However, our wish is that we had more time and availability to interview more people experiencing homelessness and collect data to show how many people are actually currently working.
Our call to action would involve creating a website that could display artwork or talents from the unhoused and connect them to employers or art galleries. This would allow for street living individuals to be connected without having to go about the conventional way of creating a resume, applying for jobs, interviewing, and conforming to society's standards. We hope to raise awareness toward models that are currently in practice, such as this social enterprise intervention by Dr. Ferguson, which connects the vocational training with health services. And then Streetwise, which is a program in Chicago that creates job opportunities and provides skills training for unhoused individuals. Their mission provides a hand up, not a handout. We hope our audience has gained insight into the barriers that street living individuals have in achieving economic stability and how that social determinant of health can influence their physical and mental health so heavily.
We would like to thank you for your time and your attention today. At this time, we are also welcoming any questions that you may have. We would like to give a special thank you and shout out to the USC Street Med team, the amazing patients, the volunteers, and all the employers. Here are a list of our resources and references. Thank you for your time.